Alright, so in order to connect to our instance, the first thing we're going to do is to upload the private key. So remember, we created some SSH key and saved on our desktop when we were creating our instance. So in order to upload that, we are going to open our Cloud Shell as we have done. So remember, the Cloud Shell is found right here. So if you go to Developer Tools, you go to Cloud Shell, you're going to find yourself here. So once you are here, we are going to, like, if we do ls right now, you see that the folder is empty. So if we get here and we go to upload, then we go to our desktop where we save the file. So on my desktop right now, so if I import this file and I click on upload, the file is going to be uploaded here on our tenancy, on our OCI tenancy. So right, so the file has been uploaded. If we do ls now, we are going to find the file right here. So here is the file. So what we're going to do now is we're going to SSH into our instance. To do that, we're going to use the command SSH I followed by our private key, then by the username. The default username of an Ubuntu instance is Ubuntu. That's Ubuntu, and then an @ followed by the IP address, the public IP address of our instance. So here is it, and I'll paste it here and I hit enter. So it says here bad permissions. That is to say that the permissions that we have on this our SSH key here is not the right one. So to get the right permissions, we're going to do chmod 400 followed by the file name and hit enter. So the permissions on that file have been fixed. So if we run the command to connect on our instance, it is now going to work properly. So as you can see here, we are connected to our Ubuntu instance. So here is our Ubuntu instance, and we are there as the default user Ubuntu. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do now is to install the Apache server. So we could install Apache server, we could install Caddy server. In fact, we could even install a panel. So that's what we call the cyber panel, that we could even install it in order to have a nice graphical interface that we can use to manage our websites. So for this particular video, I'm just going to install Apache server for demonstration purposes. So in order to install Apache server, I'm going to switch to the root user. So I'm going to do sudo su with the hyphen there. So right now I'm there as the root user. So I'm going to do apt install Apache 2. Yes. So we're going to wait for the procedure to run to the end. Alright, so as you can see here, it is complete. We have successfully installed Apache. So the next thing we are going to do is to test if we can access our web server, like to see if everything has been done properly. So we are going to take the IP address of our web server. So here is it here, and we're just going to hit it in our, just do that. So right now it's not going to work. It's not going to work because we are trying to access this on TCP port. That is, we're trying to send an HTTP request that goes through TCP port 80. So we have to come on our VCN. So we have our VCN right here. This is VCN here. So as you can see, it did not work. So go to VCN, and where we configured our security list, remember we did a configuration to allow ping requests. So we're going to do the same thing, but this time we are going to allow access to port 80. So click on public subnet and then default security list, and then we're going to add an ingress rule. So as you can see, there's no rule that tells our instance to accept, or our instance that is found in this public subnet. There's no rule that is telling it to accept requests from HTTP, to accept HTTP requests. So in order to fix that, we're going to add a rule for that. So we're going to add the rule, and the rule is saying that The source of a packet should be from anywhere on the internet, and then it is a TCP traffic that we're trying to configure, and then the source port is coming, we could say it's coming from any port, and destination is destination on port 80. So we add the ingress rule. So under normal circumstances, after adding this ingress rule, if we try to hit the IP address of our server again in a browser, we are supposed to see the default landing page of the Apache server. So I'm going to try and do in an incognito tab. So that is still not working. It is still not working. Let's try to see if we can do one or two things to try and fix that. So what we are going to do now is we are going to right now we are going to install a firewall. So we're going to do apt install ufw. So on computer firewall, we're going to install that. So once it's done, we're going to do ufw status. So it says that it is inactive. So we have to start that. We have to start it. Let me just check right here. ufcw start. So if we want to start it, how are we going to do that? Let me just try and check this. So we're going to do ufc enable. So do ufc enable. Yes. So firewall is active. Let's now check the status again. Status, as you can see here, it is active. It's active, and by default it is already allowing traffic from Apache from anywhere to anywhere. All right, so let's try and check if we can access our IP address again. Let's try and check that again, and that is it. You can see that right now we are on the default landing page of the Apache web server. So let's try and see if we can do something. Let's try and see if we can change this web page right here and replace this with our own website. So it says here that you should replace this file located at this location. So let's try and check this location. So it is in var www.html. So let's try and check if we can access that. So let's cd into var www.html. Let's hit enter and let's list the content. So you can see here you have HTML right. So let's remove that index.html. So I think if we reload this, we will no more find out that particular file. So it says index or there's no contents there. So what we're going to do now is that we're going to drop our own website right here. In order to do that, I'm just going to go on my GitHub. I'll just go on my GitHub. They have a repository that I uploaded just for this purpose. So I'll go on my repositories, and then I think it's my website. Yep. So I'm just going to go on clone repository. I'll collect that, and then I'm going to do git clone, and I'll paste the link. So it looks like git is not installed, so I'm going to do apt git. Yes. All right, so once git is installed, I'm going to run the previous command to collect that from our GitHub repository. So that has been collected. If I do, we have LSDM. So what I'm going to do now is let's just try and reload our server here and see what we have here. So it says here that we have it cannot so we have changed the name of this file to HTML. So what can we do? Like, we have to move all the contents that we have in this file to this directory, in this folder, to this directory. So let us see how we can do that. Let us cd in my That is the content and see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move assets to the previous folder. Good. I'm going to move components and index to the previous folder. Good. So if I do ls here, there's nothing here. If I cd to the previous directory, and I do ls, I'm going to have my website right here. So I can remove this folder here. Good. So if I reload this now, we're supposed to see a template website. So as you can see here, the title of the page has already loaded, and that is it. So I hope this video has been explicit enough to show you guys how to create an instance on Oracle Cloud, turn it into a web server by installing Apache web server, and actually serving a website on it. So that's it for this video. I'm going to be doing other videos on how to do one or two things on the cloud, and I think the next video is going to be on how to install the cyber panel and deploy a website. So thank you for watching.